Gardeners have debated this for years. Some swear rice awakens sleepy soil. Others insist wheat does the trick. And a few claim plain flour brings microbes roaring back to life. Imagine your soil, dark and quiet, slowly brightening as if it's stretching and waking up. Today, we'll test each one to see which truly gives soil life a gentle, natural boost. No chemicals, no pests, just simple, safe ways to nurture your garden and watch it flourish. Get ready to meet the tiny helpers that make your soil happy. For seniors, gardening is more than just a hobby. It's a way to connect with nature, enjoy the fresh air, and nurture something living with your own hands. But as we age, tasks that were once easy can start to feel tiring. Kneeling, digging, or turning over soil can strain our hands, wrists, and backs. That's where soil microbes, those tiny, invisible helpers, come in. They work quietly beneath the surface, keeping soil loose, airy, and rich in nutrients. Soil that's alive and healthy resists compaction, holds moisture better, and makes planting and weeding far easier. Imagine gently running your fingers through soil that feels soft and springy. Without the struggle, that's what good microbes do. You don't need expensive fertilizers or fancy tools to help your soil thrive. Many household ingredients, simple staples like rice, wheat, or even flour, can provide a gentle boost to microbial life. For seniors on a fixed budget, this is a blessing. Not only is it frugal, but it's also safe, non-toxic, and easy to use. No complicated recipes, no harsh chemicals, just natural ways to encourage life in your garden. When your soil is full of active microbes, your plants reward you with stronger roots, healthier leaves, and more flowers or produce. And for you, the gardener, it means less bending, less digging, and less strain on arthritic joints. Every little seed you plant becomes a partnership, with tiny helpers working tirelessly beneath the surface, quietly making your garden flourish while protecting your hands and back. Healthy soil isn't just good for your garden, it's good for your well-being. Feeling the soft, lively soil, seeing your plants thrive, and knowing you're supporting this delicate ecosystem is deeply satisfying. For older gardeners, it transforms the experience from a chore into a gentle, joyful activity. You're not just planting seeds in the ground. You're cultivating patience, nurturing life, and creating a space where your efforts are rewarded without pain or frustration. Today, we'll explore how to give your soil this gentle boost. We'll test rice, wheat, and flour to see which one sparks microbial activity the fastest, helping your garden come alive with minimal effort. Along the way, we'll share practical tips that any senior gardener can follow, safe, simple, and designed to make gardening more enjoyable and less taxing. By the end, you'll understand how a little care for your soil can go a long way for your plants and for you. Because at any age, gardening should be a source of joy, not strain. And when your soil is alive and thriving, every seed you plant, every flower that blooms, and every harvest you gather becomes a celebration of life, both for your garden and for yourself. Meet Mrs. Eleanor Whitmore. She's 76 years young and tends her backyard garden every morning. Gardening has been her lifelong joy. Over the years, she's learned a few simple tricks passed down from her mother. Take care of the soil, and the soil takes care of you, she often says with a warm chuckle. Eleanor doesn't use fancy fertilizers or complicated techniques. She prefers easy, natural methods that are gentle on her hands and back. Over time, she realized the secret to healthy plants isn't just watering or weeding. It's what happens beneath the surface. That's where tiny soil microbes quietly work their magic. Curious to give her soil extra life, Eleanor tested 3 kitchen staples: rice, wheat, and flour. She sprinkled each into separate small garden beds. Then she watched closely over the weeks. She noted subtle changes in soil texture, moisture, and plant growth. Some patches perked up faster than others. A few surprises kept her jotting notes in her little garden journal. Her experiments aren't just scientific. They're practical lessons for gardeners like you. Through her story, we'll explore which of these ingredients can safely help soil microbes thrive. This makes gardening easier, kinder on your joints, and more rewarding. Eleanor reminds us that with curiosity, patience, and a few simple staples, small efforts can bring big results and joy right in your backyard. So, why do rice, wheat, and even flour make soil come alive? The answer lies in something we all know from our kitchens: carbohydrates. These ingredients are full of natural starches, which might not seem like much, but to soil microbes, they're like a tiny banquet. When sprinkled sparingly into your garden beds or mixed into compost, these starches slowly break down into sugars. And sugars are the favorite food of countless tiny organisms that live in healthy soil. Once the microbes detect this food, they wake up. They start moving, eating, and multiplying. As they work, they release nutrients that plants need to grow strong and healthy. This process is completely natural, safe, and chemical-free. It's like giving your garden a gentle nudge, reminding it that life is there and ready to flourish. The effect isn't immediate. Soil microbes operate on their own schedule, but with a little patience, you'll notice softer, looser soil, better moisture retention, and happier plants. Here's the key: moderation matters. A tiny pinch is enough. Using too much can attract unwanted pests or create odors. We're talking about small amounts, not piles of food on your garden. The best approach is to mix these ingredients into compost. Sprinkle lightly under the soil, or work them in gently when preparing a new bed. Never dump rice, wheat, or flour directly on top of soil in large quantities. That's when problems arise. Healthy soil is a living community. Each microbe has a role, whether breaking down organic matter, holding moisture, or helping roots access nutrients. By feeding them small amounts of starch, you're encouraging this community to thrive naturally. For older gardeners, this is especially helpful. Soil that's alive and soft is easier to dig, plant, and maintain, making gardening gentler on hands, wrists, and backs. Remember, it's not about turning your garden into a science experiment. It's about understanding what the soil needs and giving it a little help the right way. By sprinkling a small amount of rice, wheat, or flour, you're essentially saying, "Hello, friends. Here's a little treat to keep you working for me." In return, microbes improve soil structure, enhance nutrient availability, and create an environment where plants grow with less effort from you. Over time, these tiny additions become part of a rhythm, a safe, natural, and rewarding way to nurture your garden. And the beauty is that it's accessible to everyone. You don't need special tools or chemicals. You just need a bit of awareness, patience, and a willingness to work with nature rather than against it. The results are quiet but powerful: soil that feels alive beneath your fingers, plants that flourish with minimal strain, and a gardening experience that's as gentle on you as it is on the earth. Let's start our test with rice. It's a staple in kitchens around the world, but it also has a quiet magic for soil when used thoughtfully. Rice breaks down slowly, releasing gentle carbon that soil microbes love. Unlike some quick-acting ingredients, rice doesn't rush the process. Instead, it encourages a gradual, steady boost in microbial activity. For seniors, this is perfect. The soil improves without demanding extra effort, and your garden gets a subtle, natural lift. Eleanor used cooked rice in her small backyard beds, mashing it lightly before mixing it into compost. She knew that raw, uncooked rice could sometimes attract pests or sit stubbornly on the soil surface. So cooking and mashing ensured it integrated smoothly, feeding microbes safely. By adding tiny amounts, just enough to enrich the soil without overwhelming it, she was able to observe the microbe activity without any odors or unwanted visitors. Over the course of 2 weeks, the results were slow but steady. The soil under Eleanor's rice-enriched compost began to feel softer and more pliable. It wasn't a dramatic overnight transformation, but she could tell the soil was waking up. Microbes were multiplying and breaking down the rice, gradually releasing nutrients that made the soil easier to work with. The plants above the soil didn't just survive, they seemed perkier, their roots exploring the looser, more welcoming ground beneath. This is the beauty of using rice in your garden. It's gentle, reliable, and safe when applied properly. It's not about rushing results. It's about nurturing a healthy, living soil ecosystem. Even small amounts, thoughtfully added, can make a noticeable difference over time. Now, here's a question for you. Have you ever added rice water or leftover rice to your compost or garden beds? Did it make a difference in your soil? Sharing your experiences helps other gardeners learn from your experiments and creates a sense of community. Eleanor loves hearing stories like this from fellow gardeners, little insights and personal tips that remind us all we're part of a living, Breathing garden network. Rice isn't just food for humans. In the garden, it's food for life itself. By understanding how to use it safely and effectively, you're giving microbes the gentle encouragement they need to thrive. For seniors, that means less strain on your hands, less effort digging, and soil that's softer and more productive, all without chemicals or complicated techniques. In Eleanor's backyard, the rice test became a lesson in patience and observation. It showed that even a simple kitchen staple could play a meaningful role in nurturing soil life. Over time, these small steps add up, creating a richer, healthier garden that supports both your plants and your well-being. And the best part? It's a method anyone can try. Simple, safe, and incredibly satisfying. Next up in Eleanor's backyard experiment, wheat. She used whole wheat grains, sometimes called wheat berries, to see how they compared to rice in waking up her soil. Unlike rice, wheat breaks down a little faster. It provides a nice balance of carbon and nutrients that soil microbes absolutely love. While the response isn't dramatic or explosive, it's noticeably quicker than rice, just enough to encourage steady microbial activity. Eleanor sprinkled small amounts of wheat into her compost and gently mixed it in, making sure it was buried under the soil rather than sitting on top. This simple step is key for safety when grains are left exposed. They can attract pests or develop unpleasant smells. Buried in compost or under soil, however, they become a microbe's perfect little feast. Within just a few days, Eleanor noticed subtle but exciting changes. The compost felt warmer. To the touch, a sure sign that microbial activity had increased. Tiny organisms were waking up, multiplying, and releasing nutrients back into the soil. Compared to the slow, gentle boost from rice, wheat gave a quicker lift. Plants growing above the treated soil seemed perkier, and Eleanor found the soil easier to work with during her morning gardening routine. This test reinforced an important lesson. Different kitchen staples feed soil microbes in slightly different ways. Rice is slow and steady, perfect for gradual enrichment, while wheat sparks quicker activity without overwhelming the ecosystem. Both are safe when used in moderation and integrated thoughtfully into compost or under soil. For seniors, these small differences matter. They can influence how easy it feels to dig, plant, and maintain a garden bed without straining hands, wrists, or backs. Now, Eleanor has a question for you, the viewer. Do you remember your parents or grandparents adding grain scraps to the garden? Maybe they tossed leftover wheat, corn, or barley into compost heaps or directly into garden beds. Those old-time habits often carried wisdom that modern gardeners can learn from. Sharing these tips not only preserves tradition but also connects us to the generations who understood soil life in ways we're just beginning to rediscover. The wheat test also highlights patience and observation. By sprinkling grains in small amounts, mixing them in gently, and waiting a few days, Eleanor was able to see clear results without any risk. Soil microbes thrived, releasing nutrients that enriched the garden slowly but steadily. And best of all, the process is chemical-free and natural, aligning perfectly with a senior gardener's needs for safe, low-strain methods. Through her experiments with rice and wheat, Eleanor learned how subtle tweaks can bring remarkable benefits. A little rice for slow enrichment, a touch of wheat for a quicker boost. Finally, Eleanor decided to test plain flour. Unlike rice or wheat, flour breaks down quickly, giving soil microbes an almost immediate treat. Microbes detect it, wake up, and start multiplying faster than with any other kitchen staple. For a gardener, this can feel like watching life return to soil in real time. The effect is noticeable. The soil warms, loosens, and seems to hum with activity. But with great power comes great responsibility. Flour is fast-acting, which means it must be used carefully. Too much can clump, create a crusty layer, or attract ants and other pests. Eleanor found that the best results came from very small amounts, just a teaspoon sprinkled into compost, or dissolved in water and poured around the base of plants. She made sure never to pour it directly on leaves or stems, keeping it safe for her garden and her plants. Over a few days, Eleanor observed exciting changes. The soil treated with flour warmed noticeably, a sure sign that microbes were hard at work. Tiny organisms were multiplying rapidly, breaking down the starches and releasing nutrients back into the soil. The bed that received flour became soft, loose, and easier to work with, more so than the rice and wheat beds. For seniors, this is particularly encouraging. Less effort digging, planting, or weeding, and a gentler touch on hands, wrists, and backs. Flour's fast action also makes it a great option for giving soil a quick boost. Eleanor used it sparingly, mixing it thoroughly with compost or dissolving it in water to reach the roots safely. In her notes, she emphasized that moderation is key. A little flour goes a long way, and using too much can create problems rather than benefits. The joy is in observing how a tiny pinch can energize your soil and support healthy plant growth. Now, Eleanor wants to hear from you. Would you try using a little flour in your compost? Or does it feel too unusual? Sharing your thoughts helps other gardeners explore new ideas safely and encourages a sense of community where everyone can learn together. Many older gardeners have their own stories of simple, natural methods passed down through generations, and adding flour might feel like another fun experiment in that tradition. Through her experiments with rice, wheat, and flour, Eleanor discovered something profound. Each kitchen staple has a role to play in nurturing soil life. Rice gives a slow, steady boost. Wheat sparks activity faster, and flour wakes microbes almost immediately, but only when used responsibly. Together, these experiments show that supporting soil microbes doesn't have to be complicated or expensive. It can be as simple as using what you already have in your kitchen, applied thoughtfully. For seniors, this approach is a game changer. Healthy soil means softer, more pliable ground, easier gardening, and happier plants. It reduces strain on joints, makes tasks more manageable, and brings the joy back into tending your garden. After testing rice, wheat, and flour, it's time to reveal the winner. Drumroll, please. Flour wakes soil microbes the fastest. But before you rush to sprinkle it everywhere, there's an important catch. It only works well in tiny, controlled amounts. A teaspoon in compost or a small amount, dissolved in water around plant bases, gives microbes just the right boost. Used responsibly, flour brings life back to the soil quickly and safely. That said, speed isn't everything. Each ingredient has its own benefits, and the best choice depends on your gardening style and comfort level. Rice, for example, is slow and steady. It's the safest option, especially for beginners or anyone nervous about attracting pests. The microbes respond gently, and the soil softens over time without fuss. For seniors or those managing delicate garden beds, rice is a reliable choice that builds soil health gradually and predictably. Wheat sits in the middle, a balanced option. It breaks down faster than rice, so microbes respond sooner. But it's still gentle and safe when mixed well into compost or buried under soil. If you want noticeable improvement in a few days, without the fast-acting intensity of flour, wheat is the perfect compromise. It's steady, natural, and easy to handle, giving gardeners confidence that they're helping the soil without risking clumps, odors, or pests. Flour is the speed booster. It wakes microbes almost immediately, and the soil warms and loosens quickly. But because it's fast-acting, it demands caution. Too much flour can clump, attract ants, or create a crusty layer on the soil surface. The key is moderation, a small sprinkle, fully mixed, or dissolved in water for roots only. When used thoughtfully, flour is a powerful tool, but it's not a substitute for consistent care, composting, or good gardening practices. Here's an important reassurance. No kitchen ingredient turns soil into magic overnight. There's no instant transformation. Microbes take time to awaken, multiply, and improve soil structure. But with careful use of rice, wheat, or flour, you can gently support this process, giving your garden a boost that's both safe and natural. Think of it as a partnership with the soil. You provide a little food and encouragement, and in return, microbes work quietly to make the soil softer, richer, and more alive. For seniors, this approach is particularly meaningful. Healthy soil isn't just about plant growth. It's about gardening being easier on hands, wrists, and backs. Looser, more active soil reduces effort and strain, making planting, weeding, and digging more enjoyable. By understanding how each staple works, you can choose the one that fits your garden, your schedule, and your comfort level. Now that we know how rice, wheat, and flour can help soil microbes wake up, Let's talk about doing it safely. The steps are simple and gentle, perfect for seniors who want results without strain or risk. Start with just 1 teaspoon of your chosen ingredient. You can mix it directly into compost or bury it about 6 inches deep in the soil. The key is never to leave food sitting on top of the soil. That's when pests or odors can appear. Next, mix thoroughly. Make sure the ingredient is well incorporated with the soil or compost. A light watering after mixing is all that's needed. From here, nature takes over. The tiny microbes will wake up, multiply, and release nutrients back into the soil. You don't have to dig, fuss, or monitor constantly. Just give the soil a gentle nudge, and the rest happens quietly beneath your hands. This simple method is safe, frugal, and effective. It transforms gardening from a task into a partnership with nature, letting you enjoy the process without worrying about harsh chemicals or heavy work. Let's flash back to Eleanor. She remembered the day her soil truly came alive again. She said she felt like she came alive too. The scent of rich, healthy earth reminded her of childhood afternoons gardening with her mother. Every handful of soil, every tiny sprout, carried the memory of lessons passed down through generations. For Eleanor, gardening isn't just about plants, it's about connection, memory, and love. It's the quiet wisdom of our elders, gently guiding us to care for the soil, the garden, and ourselves. When soil thrives, so does the gardener. This emotional connection reminds us that even small, careful actions can nurture life both in the garden and within us. So whether you choose rice, wheat, or just a pinch of flour, the real secret isn't about speed. It's about caring for the soil with patience, respect, and love the same way our elders taught us. Every teaspoon added thoughtfully is an investment in healthier soil, happier plants, and a gentler, more enjoyable gardening experience. If this video sparked an idea, give it a like, share it with a friend who loves gardening, and subscribe to the Evergreen Seniors, a place where wisdom grows quietly, beautifully, and naturally, just like a well-tended garden. Gardening teaches us many things: patience, observation, and the joy of seeing life flourish under your care. By nurturing soil, we're nurturing ourselves. And through these small acts, we honor the generations who came before us, keeping their knowledge alive in our gardens, our hands, and our hearts.